Imagine waking up in a completely strange room, thousands of miles from home. The air is thick, the silence is just deafening. And then you hear it. A single floorboard creaks right outside your window. When I woke up, a flashlight was pointed at my face. A stranger's face was inches away. The time was around 4 a.m. Yeah, that is a real quote. Today in this explainer, we are unpacking 3 chilling, 100% true stories of travelers who suddenly found themselves hunted in foreign lands. And more importantly, we're breaking down exactly how you can survive if you ever step into a similar nightmare. Section 1, the Midnight Stalker Mystery. Let's dive right into this. Picture being a 24-year-old solo traveler, just exploring the lush, beautiful jungles of Thailand. Everything feels absolutely idyllic, right up until an unseen threat latches onto you. Okay, the escalation here happened with terrifying speed. Check out this timeline. Sunset. Our traveler is riding a scooter on a remote coastal road, and every single time they slow down, the scooter behind them slows down. When they stop, it stops. Next day, noon. The exact same man, wearing a dark jacket, is spotted standing at the tree line on the beach, just watching. And then comes the absolute nightmare scenario. 2 a.m. Footsteps outside the ground floor room, followed by a slow, terrifying turn of the door handle. Now, when the traveler finally works up the courage to pull back just a tiny corner of the curtain, the man is crouched directly beneath their window. But wait, how? I mean, really, how on earth did he know exactly which ground floor window to target in the middle of the jungle in total pitch-black darkness? Think about it. He had to have been meticulously tracking this solo traveler, mapping out their exact location while they slept. It is absolutely bone-chilling. You know, the victim desperately hoped this was all just a coincidence, just some random traveler going the exact same way on that coastal road. But the terrifying reality, which was actually confirmed by the hotel owner the very next morning, this man was a known local stalker. He had been reported multiple times over the previous year for tracking tourists for days on end, always managing to vanish into thin air right before the police arrived. Section 2, the Brussels Locked Room Intruder. This is where a 17-year-old student's midnight thrill-seeking turns into a literal claustrophobic trap right in the heart of Belgium. So late at night, this student is wandering alone in a pretty sketchy red light district. His phone dies completely. He's totally lost in the freezing rain. In a total panic, he ends up relying on a complete stranger to escort him all the way back to his automatic lock hotel. He finally gets inside, assumes he's safe from the chaos, and just passes out. Then at 4 a.m., bam, a flashlight directly in his face. Okay, let's pause here, because how on earth did the intruder bypass the automatic building locks? This building was supposed to be completely secure. Did our exhausted 17-year-old just fail to pull the heavy main door completely shut when he was rushing to get out of the rain? Or did someone sinister, maybe even someone who had been tracking him through those dark alleys all night, quietly slip in right behind him before that door clicked shut? The mystery of how he actually entered is just baffling. And the sheer audacity of this intruder is what makes the whole thing so incredibly chilling. When confronted, inches from the student's face, he calmly claimed he was from the lobby, just helping a friend named Samuel look for a lost visa, like it was totally normal. He used this brilliant, disarming lie to exploit the teenager's utter exhaustion. Guys, he literally scoured their closets and backpacks right under their noses while they groggily tried to help him, making off with laptops, visas, and valuables, before they even realized they were being robbed blind. Moving on to Section 3, Hunted in the Arctic. Let's see how these fears culminate in our final and honestly perhaps most terrifying encounter set against a sparse, brutally isolated backdrop in the Norwegian Arctic Circle.
The sheer relentlessness of this chase is just staggering. At midnight, a group of friends simply overtakes a VW Golf on a desolate single-lane road. No big deal, right? Well, suddenly the Golf is tailgating them, blasting blinding roof floodlights. By 1 a.m., after trying to loose him in a remote fishing village, they are totally boxed in at a dead end, staring down a driver with a cold, expressionless face. And it gets worse. By 1:40 a.m., after fleeing to a pitch-black police station, they aren't just being followed by one car anymore. A 3-car convoy has surrounded them.
This is the detail that truly sends shivers down my spine. Who were the drivers in those 2 extra cars? I mean, how did a simple, totally legal passing maneuver turn into a coordinated, multi-vehicle ambush? The Golf driver must have called them. They were circling the dark police station like sharks waiting for blood in the water. This wasn't just some impulsive road rage incident. It was a highly organized pack hunt in the middle of nowhere. And when the police officer finally arrived and blocked the Golf, the stalker didn't panic at all. He just opened his door, looked right past the armed officer, locked eyes with the driver he'd been hunting for nearly 2 hours, and calmly muttered, "Still staring at me, by the way." But here is the most frustrating, frankly unbelievable part of this entire ordeal. As the police officer pointed out, technically, he did nothing wrong. It is not an immediate crime to drive your car on a public road in the middle of the night, even if you are essentially stalking someone for hours. The stalker knew exactly how to operate within this terrifying legal loophole, terrorizing this group of friends without ever crossing the line into an actual arrestable offense. Crazy, right? Section 4, Practical Tips to Survive. Okay, take a deep breath. We aren't just here for the scares. We need to look at exactly how these travelers survived and outline the practical tactics you absolutely must know.
These tactics are your essential armor for any trip abroad. First, always trust your gut. If a scooter matches your speed in Thailand, you are being followed, period. Second, avoid walking alone in unlit areas, just like our student in Brussels who found himself trapped with a dead phone. Third, maintain strict control of your keys and devices, and always triple check that automatic doors actually latch shut behind you. And lastly, if you're ever being pursued on the road, never ever drive directly to your hotel.
The Norwegian driver's evasion tactics were honestly genius, and they probably saved his group's lives. Let's break it down. Step 1. Do not lead the threat back to where you sleep. Step 2. Keep the vehicle moving on public, mapped roads. Don't pull over into a dark alley. And Step 3. Use your GPS to navigate directly to the nearest police station. Even if it's dark and closed, pulling up there completely changes the power dynamic and forces the stalkers to reconsider their entire plan. Which brings us to Section 5, Are You Ever Truly Safe? It's the unsettling thought that just hangs over all of these stories. When you are far from home, totally disconnected from your usual safety net, are you ever truly safe? Really think about it for a second. If you woke up at 4 a.m. in a strange bed, paralyzed by the sight of a stranger's face hovering just inches from your own, or if you looked in your rearview mirror and saw a convoy of headlights silently circling you in the freezing Arctic darkness, what would you do? Stay vigilant out there, travel smart, and never assume you are entirely alone.